your phone, your laptop, your TV. They all show you images, but have you ever wondered why the exact same video looks crystal clear on one screen and completely blurry on another? It all comes down to one thing: resolution. And once you understand how it works, you'll never look at a screen the same way again. Screen resolution is basically the number of pixels packed into a display, and a pixel is just a tiny dot of light in the smallest building block of any image on a screen. So the more pixels you have, the sharper and more detailed the image looks. Now, over the decades, screens went from being barely readable to almost photorealistic. And that evolution happened in clear steps, each one named after a number you've probably seen before: 480p, 720p, 1080p, 4K. I'm going to walk you through all of them, from the blurriest to the sharpest, so you know exactly what each one means, where it's used, and whether it's actually worth it. Below 480p, let's start at the bottom. Resolutions below 480p, like 100p, 240p, and 360p, are what we call substandard definition. And these are the resolutions from the early days of digital video, when storage was expensive and internet was slow. At 144p or 240p, everything looks like a smeared painting. You can make out shapes and faces, but text, completely unreadable unless the camera is right up close. In fact, the very first YouTube video ever uploaded, Me at the Zoo, posted in 2005, and was only available in 144p, that's how everyone started. 360p was a slight step up, used on early smartphones like the Nokia N8 and old iPod video players. But today, the only reason you'd ever see these resolutions is if your Wi-Fi is barely holding on. So yeah, historically interesting, practically gone. 480p, next up is 480p, also called standard definition 720 by 480 pixels. This was the resolution that dominated the mid-2000s. CRT monitors, budget laptops, early flat-screen TVs, all 480p. Compared to 240p, the jump is noticeable. Text becomes readable, objects have edges, the image starts to feel like something real. And that's exactly why 480p became the standard for DVD movies and PlayStation 2 games. It wasn't stunning, but it was good enough. And more importantly, it was light on storage. But zoom in on a 480p image today, and you'll still see pixelated edges and soft, blurry areas. It aged fast. 720p, 720p, 1280 by 720 pixels was the moment screens started feeling modern. This was the first resolution officially called high definition. And the difference was real. Individual pixels became hard to spot, shapes looked smooth, and text finally felt sharp and clean. 720p is why watching YouTube or Netflix in the late 2000s actually became enjoyable. HD TVs, PS3 games, early streaming, all built around 720p. But compared to what came next, 720p is really just the warm-up act. There's 1080p, 1080p, or Full HD, is the most widely used resolution in the world right now. 1920 by 1080 pixels, and it's on everything: laptops, TVs, monitors, phones, cameras. The reason it won? It's the sweet spot between quality and practicality. Images are sharp and smooth. In games, you can see fabric textures, wrinkles on clothing, individual blades of grass. Details that simply disappear at 720p. And streaming in 1080p doesn't require an insane internet connection, which is why platforms like YouTube and Netflix defaulted to it. But here's something most people don't realize: not all 1080p looks the same. The quality of a resolution depends on the size of the screen it's displayed on. Take a 24-inch Full HD monitor. It looks great, sharp, dense, clear. Now take that same 1080p signal and put it on a 65-inch TV. Suddenly it looks a little soft, maybe even blurry. Why? Because Full HD has around 2 million pixels total. On a small screen, those pixels are packed tightly, so the image looks dense and detailed. On a large screen, those same pixels get stretched over a much wider area, and that's when the cracks start to show. So if you're gaming or editing on a big monitor, 1080p might actually not be enough. That's where 1440p comes in. 1440p, 1440p, also called Quad HD, has a resolution of 2560 by 1440 pixels. It's the favorite resolution of competitive gamers and video editors, and for good reason. Now, if you just compare 1080p and 1440p while looking at something large and close-up, the difference isn't dramatic, but zoom out or look at something tiny in the distance, and 1440p pulls ahead clearly. Think of a hillside in a game. In 1080p, the edges look rough and slightly blurry. In 1440p, that same hill has a cleaner shape, and a building in the background that was practically invisible at 1080p suddenly shows actual windows. For competitive FPS games, that's not just aesthetics, that's a gameplay advantage, spotting an enemy far away before they spot you. And for productivity work like coding or video editing, 1440p gives you more screen real estate without the blurriness that plagues 1080p on large monitors. The best part? Unlike 4K, 1440p is still manageable for your GPU. You get most of the visual upgrade without killing your frame rate. So yeah, and if you're building a setup right now, 1440p is probably the smartest target. 4K or Ultra HD is 3840 by 2160 pixels. That's 4 times the pixels of 1080p, 4 times. At this level, you don't need to zoom in to see the difference. Textures are just there. Skin pores in a close-up shot, individual leaves on a tree, fine print on a sign in the background. 4K is built for large screens, big TVs, ultra-wide monitors, home theaters, and it pairs beautifully with HDR, a feature that most 4K TVs support. HDR keeps dark scenes detailed instead of just black, and makes bright areas feel vivid without being blown out. It's what makes 4K feel cinematic rather than just high quality. The trade-off? Streaming in 4K needs a solid internet connection. We're talking 25 Mbps minimum, ideally more. And gaming in 4K demands a high-end GPU. But for watching movies on a big screen, 4K is currently the gold standard. 5K sits at 5120 by 2080 pixels, and it's not really for everyone. You'll find it almost exclusively on professional monitors. Apple's Studio Display, the iMac Retina 5K, designed for designers, engineers, and photographers.